Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. We're heading towards 3,000 subscribers. I want to apologize to everybody who listened earlier today, or at least tried to listen earlier today and realize that you can't hear anything. I realized it after it was all the way over. I was really upset because I was talking, and unfortunately, when I went to listen back to it to, troubleshoot or just to give myself some notes, couldn't hear anything. Very disappointed, and so I am back with a special lunchtime edition of Talk Spicy. It was a great weekend of NFL. It's a great Sunday of NFL, but I just things don't always flow well with me. And so you sit back and you look at the GOAT, Tom Brady, and everybody understands he's the GOAT. If you don't believe he's the GOAT, then guess what? Go argue with your mama, because Tom Brady is the GOAT. He's the man. We get that. And the way he does it is interesting, because he is the golden boy with the looks and everything, but then also with that work ethic that you don't a lot of times see with guys who have been blessed with those types of looks. So he has that work ethic and that unwavering chip on his shoulder to prove that he's the best at all times, and he's having a fantastic season. But let's keep it a buck. Tom Brady has the most weapons in the NFL. He has 3 number 1 receivers. He has a couple guys who could be number 2, number 3 receivers. He's got 3 guys who could be the number 1 option at tight end at his disposal, and he has a running back as a backup running back that can't even get on the field regularly. You know how many people would die to have Ronald Jones as their running back right now? Imagine Ronald Jones in Baltimore. We'll get back to that. Hold on a bit. So Tom Brady's having a fantastic season, but everything is set up for Tom Brady to be successful. Even down to the coordinator who understands old school football because he played in it, but has the ideology and the understanding of the way the game is played today. Now, we look at everybody's presumptive best quarterback of all time, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, well, he doesn't have the championships, but if he was in Tom Brady's place, he would. That's what people always say, and it gets on my nerves, because it's only until recently that we found out, and by we, I mean you, that Aaron Rodgers was an a-hole. Aaron Rodgers is not a good dude. Aaron Rodgers is not a guy that you want to hang around with. You can see it, that smug, that arrogance, that entitlement that he feels. Everybody's made an excuse for it all the time. Oh, well, he's just so supremely intelligent that he's sometimes hard to digest. Oh, well, he's so talented that when he's not given the opportunity to be at such and such level, then it's disrespectful. Remember when they tried to say that he knew more about football than Mike McCarthy did? They tried to make Mike McCarthy out to be this bumbling idiot that didn't know anything about football. And I kept going, but wait a minute. If Mike McCarthy doesn't know anything about football, then how did they win a Super Bowl? Was that all just because Aaron Rodgers was good? And if so, then why didn't they win it the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that? Coach must play some type of role, right? No? Okay, cool. So then we watch the Aaron Rodgers saga unfold. And every year when he gets a new coordinator and a new coach or whatever, they go, oh, well, Aaron Rodgers has to be this. Aaron Rodgers needs to have that. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers has 3 running backs who are really good, investment in the offensive line, a number 1 wide receiver, a number 2 and a number 3 wide receiver, and tight ends who are legitimate pass catching and can block for you tight ends. Okay. Now we get to this year, and here's where it unraveled for Aaron Rodgers, because people expected Aaron Rodgers to be smart enough to say, hey, you know what? This vaccine thing might be good for us. But he wasn't. And guess what would have happened? If Aaron Rodgers would have just came out and said, hey, if they'd have came out and asked Aaron Rodgers, hey, Aaron Rodgers, are you vaccinated? He said no. And then they said, okay, well, are you planning on getting vaccinated, Aaron Rodgers? And he said no. Guess what? People would have jumped on him, but they would have known where he stood for real, and he could have lived in that decision. But Aaron Rodgers didn't want to do that, because Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be scrutinized. So he lied. And this is where he and Kyrie Irving diverged, because Kyrie Irving was willing to forego millions upon millions of dollars for what he believed in. Do I agree with Kyrie Irving? Absolutely not. Do I respect his decision? Absolutely. Because he was willing to lose money and lose credibility over what he believed in. Aaron Rodgers never wanted to do that, so he lied, and he put other people at jeopardy. How do we know? Think about this. Davante Adams came down with COVID a week before Aaron Rodgers was diagnosed with COVID. How do we know that Aaron Rodgers didn't give Davante Adams COVID? How do we know that he's not responsible for Davante Adams having to miss a game? We don't. Until we get him on the Pat McAfee show, and then he talks all of this ridiculousness, and then all of a sudden, the guy that we always thought was probably one of the smartest people in the NFL revealed himself as being nothing more than a bumbling idiot who uses buzzwords to divide people. And then your eyes all of a sudden opened up to who Aaron Rodgers is and why he's not close with people. Aaron Rodgers never wanted to take responsibility for his actions. Aaron Rodgers just wanted to stew in it. And now we've spent hours upon days upon weeks talking about Aaron Rodgers, and we are missing the greatest single quarterback performance in the history of professional football. Ladies and gentlemen, Lamar Jackson is your MVP this year. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It's not Tom Brady. It's not anybody else that you wanted to name. The MVP this year is Lamar Jackson. And why is Lamar Jackson the MVP, you might ask? What makes him the MVP, you might ask? Ask yourself this. Lamar Jackson's MVP season, he rushed for 1,200 yards. Anybody want to guess what he's on pace to rush for this year? You guessed it. 1,200 yards. By the way, he's actually on pace to rush for more than that. I'm just going to include the 16 games. I'm not going to include that extra 17 game on the end. He's on pace to rush for 1,200 yards in the 16 games. He has 600 right now. He has 9 games left. So in the next 8 games, if he gets another 600 yards, that'll be the equivalent of what he did 2 years ago in his MVP season, except he's on pace for 40-something hundred passing yards in those 16 games. So you're telling me a guy who right now is top 6 in rushing. Let me pull the numbers up. He's 6th in rushing. He is 6th in rushing. Number one is Derrick Henry. He's not going to have any more yards this year, which means that Lamar Jackson's going up. All of the people behind him, none of them are consistent enough with their rushing to probably usurp him outside of Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook might get over him this year. The people in front of him, Ezekiel Elliott, is there any chance that he may get him splitting time might keep him from getting to 1,200 yards? Yes. Joe Mixon, how much are they going to be able to run the ball when they can't stop anybody on defense? Who knows? Nick Chubb, is he going to stay healthy all year enough to be able to rush more? Jonathan Taylor is going to probably win the rushing title because they figured out we can't let Carson Wentz just lose games for us. Let's just get the ball to Jonathan Taylor. So when it shakes out, Lamar Jackson is going to be a top 5 in the league rusher. He's also, right now, 9th in passing yards. His 22.09 over the first 8 games puts him on pace for 4,500 yards in a 16-game season. You're telling me that the guy who throws for 4,500 yards and rushes for 1,200 on a team that's going to win double-digit games is not going to win the MVP? A season we have never seen before, a 4,000 passing, 1,000-yard rushing season. We've never seen that before. A 4,500-yard passing, 1,200-yard rushing. We've never seen that before. In Lamar Jackson's, in his MVP season, he only threw the ball for about 30-some-odd hundred yards, probably 3,200 yards. So you're telling me he's going to have 1,300 more yards in 16 games, not in the 17, in 16 games than he had in his MVP season. He's going to lead a team that has not lost 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 of the running backs that he had last year who are rolling out guys like Le'Veon Bell and DeAndre Freeman, who were barely even on rosters last year. And now you're telling me that guy with that lack of production at running back and your starting left tackle being out for multiple weeks and your guard being hurt and another your starting guard from last year retiring and you getting an old washed up right tackle from Pittsburgh who wasn't doing anything there, and your defense having 1, 2, 3 defensive backs who are out for the season and now who can't stop anybody. You're telling me that quarterback who is single-handedly dragging his team to a 6-2 record so far over the first 8 games is not the front runner for MVP? Why? Because he gets it done differently? I said earlier, and I stand by it, Lamar Jackson, watch this. Lamar Jackson is what you would have if you combined Nick Chubb and Baker Mayfield together. If you combined Nick Chubb and Baker Mayfield and you had them do that Dragon Ball Z fusion, it would produce Lamar Jackson. This is not Cam Newton. Lamar Jackson's not 6'6", 250 pounds, out there just mauling dudes. Lamar Jackson is a slight of built, but stronger than you would believe, 6'2", 212-pound quarterback running quarterback power and averaging 6+ yards a carry. How impressive is his 600 yards this season? Everybody above him has more carries than he does. Ezekiel Elliott has over 30 more carries than he does, yet he only has 22 more yards. Joe Mixon Joe Mixon has 53 more carries than Lamar Jackson does, only has 36 more yards. The only one who has a similar yards per carry average to Lamar Jackson are Nick Chubb at 6 yards a carry and Jonathan Taylor at 5.9 yards a carry. Both of them have way more carries than Lamar Jackson. And yet and still, as a passer, when we look at Lamar Jackson being top 9 in passing, there is only one quarterback in that top 9 that has thrown the ball less than Lamar Jackson has. That's Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has thrown the ball 256 times. He has 40 more yards than, not 40 more yards. He has 63 more yards than Lamar Jackson. He's the only one. Everybody else has had more attempts than Lamar Jackson. And for all of you people who tell me that Lamar Jackson is not accurate, I'll tell you this, the top people in front of him for yards, Kyler Murray is the only one who has a ridiculous completion percentage. He is 72.7%. Number one is in yards is Matt Stafford, 68%. That's less than 3%. That's 3% higher than Lamar Jackson. Tom Brady, 67%, 67.2%. That's less than 3% higher than Lamar Jackson. Derek Carr, same as Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes, 65%. Joe Burrow, 68%. Herbert, 66%. Josh Allen, 65%. Somebody please tell me this man is not the MVP. And you want to sit back and spend your time talking about Aaron Rodgers not taking a vaccine? Ladies and gentlemen, you are missing it. This will go down as the greatest single season in the history of football. Check it off right now. I'll be the first to say it. So when other people start saying it, I want you to just tag me with what they're saying and say, Coach, you were right. This will be the greatest season in the history of the NFL. Nobody will ever duplicate this again. Probably not even Lamar Jackson. You know why? Because next year they'll give him a back. He'll have a back. They'll improve the offensive line. Right? That's what's going to happen. Don't miss it. Worrying about stuff that doesn't matter. Guess what? All of these rookie quarterbacks have issues. Stop paying attention to them. All of the guys that you thought were going to be good when they moved, guess what? They're still bad. Sam Darnold's still awful. God awful. Imagine what the Carolina Panthers would be if they still had Teddy Bridgewater. Hey, Broncos fans that wanted to get rid of Broncos media people that wanted to get rid of Teddy Bridgewater. Guess what? He's still winning. He's still one of the best in the NFL. Sorry. But don't spend time thinking about that. Tune all of your games to the Baltimore Ravens and watch greatness. Watch history be made. This man is going to throw for over 4,000 yards, and he's going to most likely run for over 1,000 yards. You've never seen it before. You're never going to see it again. You're never going to see it again. That is history, ladies and gentlemen, and history needs to be paid attention to before it's too late. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Talk Spicy. I am Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Until next